Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to show you a cool little saw that I picked up recently from a friend. When I picked this saw up from him, it was running. This is a saw from probably the early 80s, and it's a top-handled saw. There's no suspension on it. It's built like a tank. It is not super lightweight, but it's fairly small. When I did pick it up, it was running. However, I pulled the air filter off and there was about a 1/4 inch of oil and sawdust in there. Cleaned that out, retuned the carburetor, and now it's running even better. Now this one does have a brake, which is kind of interesting. So as an older saw, it does have a brake for your hand, but you have to pull back on this lever right here to disengage that brake. What else? It has a safety on top, like a kind of a standard. I mean, overall, it's nothing different than a modern saw would have, other than there's nothing fancy. It's just a carburetor, and it does have this choke on the side that you pull to start it. So we're going to start this. It is cold. This was sitting out in the top box of the truck all night, or in the car all night. So it is cold, and I believe it got down to about lower 40s, upper 30s last night. So this is a good test of the cold start of the 280E. Let's just start it up. I'm at my in-laws' place, and they have some little saplings that they want cut down with this saw, and that would be perfect for this thing. They're just big enough to where a little hatchet would probably take a lot more time. So something like that would be perfect for this type of saw. And limbing. There's also some limbs, do a little limbing around here, which would be good for them. So let's start this up and see how she runs. I'll try to start it from this side. Pull the choke all the way out. Doesn't move that much. Turn your saw to the on position. And let's see let's put the safety on just for fun. I'll start it up. This is cold start. There we go. Now I'm going to take it on. I found that with this one you want to put it on like half choke. It's not like a steel where you just turn that button. So there we go. Let's just keep going. Don't want to flood it. Just turn it off. It's a cold morning. So one thing that happens with this saw is when you get into some brush, The guides, you know, this is kind of an older saw. You get a lot of wood in there, but it tends to pop off of the bar. If, you know, I don't know why it pops off right by the sprocket. So it's pretty easy to put back on, but, you know, it's just something to be aware of. Maybe I have to run a little tighter. Okay, so the question here is, does the 35-year-old or so, give or take, Echo 280E hold up? Can you do real work with it? Can you clear areas? Is it going to work on your, as a backup saw in your truck? Is it going to work as a main saw for limbing? And I think the answer is yes and no. This thing, this saw is old, and it works fine. There's some oiling issues and some various other small issues that I'm still kind of dealing with and working through. But it seems to be working okay. It does seem to want to throw chains. The guide system in here is not as good as the newer ones, I don't think. It doesn't hold the chain on when you get into real thin stuff. Now, I've thrown chains on every chainsaw that I've had when I get into twigs and different things that want to grab, you know, the chain wants to grab instead of cut. That's always a problem. With this one, it seems to be a little bit more of a problem. So this likes to have straight, clean cuts, you know, with limbs and stuff that's maybe 1 inch or thicker, where it doesn't vibrate so much. But I don't know if that's a common problem with these. But other than that, it runs really good. It makes horsepower. It starts very easily. Seems to be reliable. I mean, that's important. You can just turn it on and off. So is it a good saw? Yeah, I think it's good. I think if you find one of these, make sure it's working, okay? If you find one that's like a part saw, I've noticed just in the short research that I've done that these are hard to find parts for. They don't make them anymore. You might be able to find an air filter, you know, and some basic, I think you can find some, you know, some of the fuel caps and stuff like that, if they still have them in stock. You know, they carry some new old stock of this type of thing, but most of the parts, the real parts, sprockets and that type of stuff are kind of gone. So be aware of that. For me, this is more for fun. I just kind of wanted to have a spare saw. I got a good price on it, and obviously it's working just fine. So I think this will end up, you know, as a secondary kind of a backup saw. Throw it in the truck, throw it on the side-by-side, you know, if we're out cutting trails on the property or something like that. Great saw for that. And obviously the reliability is there. I mean, it's an Echo. It's a Japanese motor. It's fine. It'll outlast probably anything on the market today. You know, this was considered a mid-range homeowner saw back in the 80s. And I mean, it's built like a tank. So, you know, I think their version of mid-range is probably, you know, what we would call I don't know if you'd call it a pro saw. Probably not, but pretty close. Yeah, just a beast and a half. You can hear that, the clunk. The filter, the pickup tube is moving around in there as it should. Everything seems to be working pretty darn good. So all I've done to it is put a new Oregon chain on it, and it cuts great. I mean, it actually has plenty of power and cuts just fine. So I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.